I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on SAT Mathematics Level 2. Now you will notice that for Level 2, we have huge percentage marks for algebra and functions. So polynomials is a very important topic. Based on that, I have taken here 3 questions which are slightly difficult. So if you are okay with the Level 1, you should actually look into these 3 questions. Question number 1 here is, when polynomial p of x is divided by x minus 1, the remainder is 3. When p of x is divided by x minus 2, the remainder is 5. Find the remainder when p of x is divided by x squared minus 3x plus 2. And you are given 4 options, right? Now, how do we do such kind of a question? Let's try to think about it. You know clearly from the remainder theorem that when I say that polynomial p of x is divided by this, remainder is that means p of what makes this 0? 1. That means the value of polynomial at 1 is the remainder 3, right? Now, same polynomial, when you divide by x minus 2, that means when you substitute 2 in it, you get a remainder of 5. That means p of 2 is 5. That is given to us. Now, what is x squared minus 3x plus 2? X squared minus 3x plus 2 is basically a product of x minus 1 and x minus 2, right? So that is what it is. So that should give you an idea that somehow the result is related with this option. Perfect. Now, that is the basic concept, and let's begin from here to solve this particular question, right? So we can actually understand that the polynomial could be written as, let's say the polynomial p of x can be written as the quotient, which we don't know what it is going to be, times the divisor, which in our case is product of x minus 1 and x minus 2. Plus the remainder, we'll call it capital Rx, right? That is how we get the polynomial when we are going to divide it by the quadratic expression, right? Now in this particular expression, see what happens when I write x equals to 1. So if I write x equals to 1, I get the value of the polynomial p of 1, right? So when I do that, I get qx times 1 minus 1 times 1 minus 2 plus r. We are writing r for 1, right? So that is what we get. Now, you need to understand that what this r of x is. When you divide by a quadratic function, this remainder r of x should be of the form of a linear equation, ax plus b, right? It should be of this form. So when I say r of 1, then actually speaking, we know now p of 1 is 3. So we can write this as 3. And here, 1 minus 1 is 0. So this whole thing is 0. And r of 1 means you have to substitute 1 in ax plus b. So we get this as a plus b, right? So remember that r of x is basically a linear ax plus b. That is how it is. So our remainder, when you divide by a quadratic expression, then will be highest degree will be 1. So it could be a constant also. It could be ax plus b form also. So from here we get one equation, which is 3 is equal to a plus b. Now I think you got the trick. If I now substitute 2, I will get 0 here, because in qx I get 2 minus 1 times 2 minus 2. Now 2 minus 2 is 0. And when I substitute 2 here, so let me write down a times 2 plus b, right? So now p of 2 is 5. So I get another equation which is 5 equals to 2a plus b. You get an idea, right? So that is the way to solve such a question. So now we'll work with these two equations, which is equation 1 and 2. We got a, b equals to 3 when we add them, and 2a plus b is 5. So see what happens when you just subtract one from the other. So if I do equation 2 minus equation 1, in that case 5 minus 3 is 2, and 2a minus a is a, right? And b minus b is 0. So we get the value of a as equal to 2, correct? Now, since we know a is 2 now, we can substitute, let's call this as equation 3. We can sub this, let's do this, sub equation 3 in, let's say 1, correct? In that case, what do you get? So when you substitute, let me do it here. So we have 3 equals to a is 2 for us, 2 plus b. So 3 minus 2 will be equal to b, or b is 1. So we know b is 1. So since we know that a is 2, right? So since we know a is 2 and b is equal to 1, the remainder for us is ax plus b. What should it be? It should be 2x plus 1, right? 2x plus 1 is our remainder, right? So I hope you understand the whole process. So 2x plus 1 is option D. That is how you're going to solve it. So I hope the explanation is absolutely clear. Now, let us take the second example. Now, when you practice with such examples, you could actually do it very fast. And there is a formula which can give you the result, but I'll give you a link for that formula, okay? Let's move on to question number 2 now. Question number 2. The equation 18x squared minus 21x plus 5 divided by ax minus 2 is equal to 6x minus 3 minus 1 over ax minus 2 is true for all values of x where a is a constant except values, let's say x belongs to R, except x is not equal to 2 over a, right? So what is the value of a? That is what you need to figure out. Now this is also based on the polynomial division statement. So you can see from here clearly that the quotient is 6x minus 3 and the remainder is minus 1. Now how do you get the value of a? So this is relatively a simple question. So on the right side, what do you have? You have 6x minus 3 minus 1 over ax minus 2. So if you take the common denominator as ax minus 2, what do you get? You get 6x minus 3 times ax minus 2, right? Minus 1. And when you multiply ax with 6x, you get 6ax squared, correct? So you get 6ax squared. The other terms will not have x squared, right? So when you do this, you get minus 3ax and so on, right? We need not even work with those numbers. So we have ax minus 2, since we need to find what a is. So now you have seen that the first term here, the x squared term, is ax squared, and in the given equation on the left side, we have 18x squared. Perfect. So that means that 18x squared should be equal to 6 times a times x squared. Now, you could solve for a, right? You could solve for a. So this clearly means that a is equal to 18 divided by 6 is what a is, which is 3. So we get option C as the right option. So this one is relatively simple if you understand the basic concept. So straight away, just apply common denominator. So you are going to multiply these two numbers, right, to get x squared. And then you compare the coefficients. So 6a should be 18, so a is 3. So within a second, you can now do this question. So I hope that trick should work for you. Now let's take up the last question. Question number 3. 2x squared minus 5 is a factor of 6x to the power of 4 plus 8x cubed minus 5x squared plus ax plus b. What is the value of a and b? We are given 4 choices. Now in these kinds of questions, what could you do? One way is that x squared is equal to 5 over 2 square root. You could plug this in and then get 2 different equations, right? So that could be one way. So one method, let me say method 1, right? Could be, we can say 2x squared minus 5 equals to 0 means x equals to 5 over 2 square root with plus and minus. Now these two values will give you 2 equations to solve, correct? So we get 2 equations to solve. Now this way, you could get the answer, but this is a very long method, right? This consumes time. This is time consuming. So we should not do this method. What we could do here is straight away just do long division. So if we do long division, then what happens? So we'll actually do long division and find the answer. We have 6x to the power of 4 plus 8x cubed minus 5x squared plus ax plus b. And on this side, we are missing one term here. So we'll write here 2x squared plus placeholder 0x minus 5 and perform the long division, correct? So taking three terms, we will first multiply by 3x squared, right? Get rid of 6x to the power of 4. We get 6x to the power of 4 plus 0x cubed minus 5 times 3 is 15x squared, right? So when you take away, what do you get? So you get 10x squared, right? And you bring down now the term, which is, okay, this also, so 8x cubed plus 10x squared, and bring down ax. So taking care of 8x cubed, 4 times 2 is 8, so we'll do plus 2x. So that gives you, plus 4x. So 4 times 2 is 8, so 8x cubed plus 0x squared, and 4 times minus 5 is minus 20x, right? Now, when you take away, what do you get? Now you get a, so a plus 20x, and you bring down the number here, which is plus b. Our term, which is 10x squared, right? So we'll write 10x squared plus this, right? Okay, so we have all this. Now we have 10x squared from here, and a plus 20x plus b, we could actually multiply by 5, right? So when I multiply by 5, I get 10x squared, and 5 times 0 is 0x, and that gives me 25 minus 25. Okay, so let's see what is the remainder now. Now we get a plus 20x as the remainder, right? Times x, that is with x coefficient, and here we get b plus 25. Now what is the meaning of that 2x squared minus 5 is a factor? It means we are expecting remainder to be 0, right? So we expect, since this is a factor, that remainder should be 0, right? So let's write down remainder equals to 0 if 2x squared minus 5 is a factor, correct? So we can equate this to 0 and find possible values for a and b. So that clearly means that both these two terms should be 0, right? So a plus 20 equals to 0 means a equals to minus 20, and b plus 25 equals to 0 means b equals to minus 25. So those are the conditions, which is our option number D, right? So that is how you get your result. So I hope the steps are absolutely clear for mathematics level 2. These 3 examples on polynomials should help you a lot to answer most of the questions. And for level 1, you can watch the other videos on Crack SAT playlist, which I have. Feel free to write your comments, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that would be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.